Welcome, everybody, to the Stone Down Sports Podcast. My name is Matt. I don't know. We just got some weird pop-up that said, like, error, please try again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, my name is Matt. Really happy to be here with you today. We're going to jump into some Week 5 NFL. But before we do that, just want to show a little gratitude that all of you that come hang out with us while we're talking here Tuesday and Thursday evenings, those of you who check things out afterwards, and especially those of you that come in and interact and chat and ask the questions. We're really humbled that you trust us enough to take our advice. But as always, I'm joined here by the Revival, Kyle and Ramey. Ramey, Week 5 means we are now in Jonathan Taylor season.
Yeah, we are. And he came out during his press conference yesterday and said he's ready to roll. So whether that means he will get any kind of significant playing time this week is yet to be seen. But I would think that he would be at least used in some limited capacity, because while Zach Moss has done a nice job while he's been out, I think Jonathan Taylor is above and beyond a much more talented running back. And I'm excited to see him in that offense with Anthony Richardson and Pittman and all those tight ends.
I
know you love all those tight ends. Right?
I know that was for you, Kyle.
Yeah.
I don't think Moss is just going to be immediately jettisoned to the bench. No. I think with his first game back, we're probably going to look at something close to a 60-40, 50-50 split. So in fantasy, if you got them both and you have to start them both, there are certainly worse things you would have to encounter as we're here into bye weeks as well.
Well, they do play the Titans this weekend, and that Titans run defense is pretty staunch. So if you don't have any other choice, you don't have any other choice. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Kyle?
Yo, I am here. 2 minutes, 12 seconds in. All right.
Yeah. How are things going?
Not too bad. Not too bad. You fellas doing good? We got a not so interesting Thursday night football matchup tonight.
Doesn't mean I'm not betting on it.
I bet on it for sure. I think the Commanders take that one. I think the Bears' little revival they had last week offensively was a lot to do with the Denver defense. It's atrocious, especially their pass rush. They have one of the weakest pass rushes in the NFL. Justin Fields had a lot of time, I guess is what I'm saying, when in previous weeks he didn't. And the defensive of the Washington, their defensive line is the strength of that team. And I think you're going to see Justin Fields running for his life on his butt again. I still think he'll get 25 or 30 yards rushing still, but there's a pretty nice prop for over 48 and a half.
I just need him to get 25.
Just 25
parlay.
They do get arguably their best lineman back tonight. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I just saw on the game day preview on NFL Network that he's playing for the first time this year. So not that will make a huge difference, but every little bit helps.
Yeah. I mean,
what's funny is so far to this point in his career, the longer Justin Fields has held on to the ball, the worse he's been as a passer.
Yeah.
So maybe we're seeing a little bit of improvement, but with him, it's looking like it's going to be baby steps if it happens at all.
And Fields might have a pretty good, more like over 25 or more, just because the strength of that Commanders, the defensive line and stuff, probably creating opportunities for pressure and some scrambles.
Yeah. Some stuff and things.
Yeah. You guys are butt faces. Oh, 4.5. You guys are buttholes. Assholes. There you go. I can say it now.
Way to build up to it.
Yeah.
Washington has gave up 56 yards rushing to Russ, 46 to Josh Allen, and 28 to Hurts in games so far this year. So
it
happened.
I think I think he'll have a decent chunk of rushing yards, but to your guys' point, I think it'll be a product of needing to scramble and kind of run for his life a little bit. That pass rush is much better than Denver's was last week, so I think he will accumulate some yards, but I think it'll be him kind of looking for his first, second read, then pulling the ball down and taking off. I don't see him getting a ton of time there in the pocket. And Matt, like you said, even when he does get a ton of time, he seems to become a worse passer for some reason.
Yeah, he's not somebody that really just excels at reading the whole field. And typically, when you see quarterbacks who are holding on to the ball that long, it's because of their limited ability to go through their progressions, and they just kind of stand there and pat the ball. Or was somebody with Justin Fields' archetype, at least in the past, he'd take off and run and really got spectacular results with it. You're just not seeing that this year. He's been a disappointment, especially for those folks who drafted him as maybe the 4th, 5th QB off the board, like I was tempted to do. Our Chicago sports correspondent Justin over there in Illinois, shout out if he's watching. The Bears making the playoffs is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Which
I think we gave him enough ridicule with that,
for
that
sure.
episode anyway, because all three of us said that was very, very unlikely to happen.
Well, we can do it again now because he's not here to defend himself, and that take age like milk. So
this is true.
Yeah.
This is very true.
Yeah. Not
yeah, I don't. The Bears have been, or the. Let me look. Where was I at? Every game with Chicago this year, the over is hit so far. What is it in this game? 40 or something?
46?
46?
45, I'm sorry. On draft
45.
45.
Yeah, I say under. I don't think that's going to happen, but
I think I'd bump it up a few points.
Shall see.
Maybe throw it in a parlay.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds familiar. That sounds like a damn good idea too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, and Sam Hall's not a bad start this week if you're desperate, I guess, against the Bears.
Hey,
He's 10th in passing yards.
If your quarterback's
too many
bye,
interceptions, and
if you've got Justin Herbert or Geno or somebody like that's been putting up good numbers, and you need a guy for a week for a bye, he might not be a bad option.
Yeah. Brian Robinson either. I think he's probably going to have a good game.
Don't you have him in a league?
I do. I'm starting.
So that's more. You need him to have a good game.
I sure do.
Probably.
I sure do. Yeah, he's averaging 4.3 yards per attempt. Good for 19th in the league. He's got 3 touchdowns, averaging 65 yards a game, and he's also caught a few balls too and a touchdown.
And a lot of his production came against that Denver defense that made the Bears look competent.
Right.
So I guess the moral of the story is if you have players going up against Denver, just start them. Don't overthink it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Till they can prove otherwise, and it doesn't look like they're going to this year. I saw where they released Randy Gregory. He actually requested his release, and I think they talked to Sean Payton about it, and he said he just wasn't a good fit, or we want winners or something like that. The typical
winners. The coach speak.
So I'm curious to see where he'll end up. Probably maybe back with the Cowboys, or maybe the Chiefs will scoop him up. He'd be a good pickup for a team that's contending. He signed a big deal with Denver a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he did.
Like $70 million, I think.
Somebody that's got to get going is Terry McLaurin. Jesus, guy's only got 1 touchdown so far.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson's been a disappointment too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that kind of passing game as a whole, you said he's got the 10th most passing yards, but damn, where in the hell is it all going?
But 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and he spent a lot of time on his butt too. A lot of sacks, but
on his butthole.
On his bungholio. I gotta go backwards here. Oh Jesus. You want to do Colts or Lions? Colts or Lions?
Let's go
first.
to the Colts. We've talked too much about this game tonight, more than it's worth.
Yeah. Yeah, Colts, Tennessee, both
Yep.
2-2. In fact, all the teams in the AFC South are 2-2, 4-way tie. A little more competitive than we expected, I think, Ramey.
Sure, we'll say that. I guess that's I guess in a way it's true. Jacksonville hasn't kind of taken off like we thought they might have in the division, and Houston's been a bit of a surprise along with Indy. A couple of wins between those two teams that you didn't expect. Houston having Pittsburgh at home, and then Indy going to Baltimore and winning in just a sloppy weather game. But the Colts have lost 7 games in a row at home, and I believe if they lose this weekend, it would tie or break the all-time record for their time in Indy. They've also lost 5 straight against the Titans. So no time like the present to break some streaks. And the strength of the Colts offense right now with the rushing really plays into the strength of the Titans defense. So I kind of have a feeling that Steichen might have Anthony Richardson come out and sling the ball a little bit and run some plays to kind of get the Titans defense on its heels. And then you hope that you can kind of mix up between Moss and potentially Richardson, but Jonathan Taylor and then Richardson on some QB designed runs. Once you get them on their heels, you might be able to break loose some runs there. So I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think I saw that the over under is 43. I wouldn't be shocked to see this be like a 2017 kind of game. And honestly, I think it could go either way. If you had to put money on it, with it being I think it's a 2.5. Yeah, Colts are 2.5 point dog. I'd bump that number up to 3. I'd bump that number up to 3, and I think worst case you might push, but I don't know. I go week to week on this team because they just seem to go win, loss, win, loss, win. So coming off that loss against the Rams, I'm a little down on them. But I hope they're competitive, and I hope that they're out ready to play, unlike they were last Sunday. Their first half was just dreadful. It's a division game, so it counts a little bit extra, and would give them a leg up on the Titans as we move down the stretch. So hoping for a big game from Richardson, and hope the defense can keep Derrick Henry under wraps. But if Buckner is still out, that might be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, a glimmer of.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
One glimmer of hope. Last week against this same Titans rush defense, the corpse of Joe Mixon averaged 4.8 yards a carry. And with JT coming back, who is obviously a more dynamic back, the Colts have a superior run blocking line to the Bengals. You know, they might be sneakily effective on the ground against Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, and Steichen's shown that he can be pretty diverse offensively, and he seems to be drawing up the right kind of plays against whatever defense they may be facing. So it'll be fun to see what they have in store. No, I didn't say interesting. I said fun.
Yeah, still, it's the same thing, man.
We're not allowed to say blank 2C anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely two teams that have the same strengths and weaknesses, right? They're both pretty weak in the secondary. They're horrible against the pass, but they're both very strong teams against the run. You know, which team is going to do, you know, a worse or better job of exploiting the other team's weaknesses? You know, we'll see. I don't expect a lot of explosive plays. It's kind of going to be more of a slog fest, I'm thinking. And they're both going to try and establish the run, and they're both going to have little success in that, I think. So the under is definitely a viable bet. I do like Michael Pittman in this game a lot.
Yeah, he's quietly having a really nice.
There's really no receivers to talk about on the Titans. I mean, yeah, there's D-Hop, I realize, but it's not the same guy.
He's not really worth talking about this year so far.
No.
Part of that's probably
you're hoping for just volume targets with him.
Yeah.
But AR seems to, you know, go to him, and Minshew did too when he started. So
yeah. I think one thing you might want to look for in this game, one thing Richardson did really well in college was throw the deep ball. And I wouldn't be shocked, especially early, if they don't come out and try to utilize Pierce and maybe Josh Downs a little bit and try to go deep on the Titans, because that is a weakness of their defense. Try to get down the field early, and maybe that opens up some of that run game or some of those screens or short passes for Pittman later on. So they did that a little bit against the Rams last Sunday. They went deep a couple of times, but they really haven't exploited that. And that was something he was fairly effective at, along with running the ball, obviously, in college at Florida. So we'll have to see.
Tennessee's defense is 26th in yards per attempt allowed, so it's horrible.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Colts are 25th in yards per attempt allowed. So, yeah, it'll be. What time's that game? Is that a 1 o'clocker on Sunday?
Not a
You
Sunday
know that's
night
not
game.
a damn 4
I didn't-
o'clock prime
I didn't figure
slot.
it was, but
It is at
would
1.
be, but
1.
I'll have
Guys
to
want-
miss it. It's I'll be
Have
busy
church?
watching Lions Panthers.
Oh.
Oh no,
Ooh.
yeah, Lions Panthers. Okay.
Mhm.
Be good.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lions Panthers,
See, that would have been a
shit.
smooth segue had you not said that and then yelled it into the
yeah. Flashback to Week 16 last year. Do you remember, Matt?
Of course I remember.
The Panthers steamrolled the Lions 37-23, and they had how many?
817 yards rushing.
320 rushing yards.
That would be a
was it.
record.
Just sick. That's not going to happen this time. No fucking way, because somebody has the number 1 rush defense in the league at 60.8 yards allowed per game, and that is my Detroit Lions.
Who's counting?
That's all I need to say. And the Panthers are 22nd in the league with 381 on the ground this year so far. So
Yeah,
not like they
it's
were
going to
last
be
year.
a
They had a
Monty
nice,
game.
yeah, they had a nice, they had Chupa Hubbard last year, and Deontay Foreman, I think, had most of those yards last year. But the defense is a lot different this year than it was last year. So no Jack Campbell, no Brian Branch jumping up to the line and getting tackles for loss. And they got Bryce Young. Why are you guys just laughing? What the fuck?
I think.
What did I
Matt and
say?
I think we're playing the same game, but we didn't even talk about it.
Mm-hmm,
Yes.
pretty much.
Whatever. And yeah, let's face it, the Panthers offense is no bueno right now. So with Bryce Young at the helm. And they have no legit wide receiver. 1. I fucking hate you guys.
And
Jonathan Mingo's back from an injury. He's still raw. I'm just going to start laughing too. Fuck it. Wow. All right. Good thing we don't have any viewers. There's one. It's probably Drew. He's making chicken or dinner or something. Chicken dinner, fried chicken dinner with Ramey's ma. Yeah, they don't have a wide receiver. They got Mingo, who's raw, and Adam dead body Thielen. Nothing. Are you guys going to talk so people are like actually might fucking join instead of you guys just laughing? Pasta
Are you
going to
give us the up?
We've
Pasta
tried
tonight.
to talk 3 or 4 times.
No, I'm not going to let you guys. No, I'm not going to let you
Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't need to point that out. Anytime there be a break, and
Well, now you know how I feel. Well, you know how I feel when I'm listening to Ramey talk about the Colts.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Same
jumping
thing.
Christ.
Hey, man, we're all ramblers sometimes.
We are.
I am
Feel
who
free
I
to
am.
stop. I have things that I would like to say about the game if given the
Sure, go ahead.
opportunity. You
Go ahead.
sure? All right.
No.
You're killing me. Now, as saying, it's going to be a Monty game. He's first in the NFL in broken tackles. Right now, Miles Sanders is the most inefficient he's been in his career on both a per carry and a per touch basis. And he's already a dude who was not that efficient to begin with, even when he was there in Philly. Detroit's going to get J-Mo back, but it's not like he's going to be out there for every single snap. I imagine he'll get somewhere in the range of maybe 12 to 15 snaps this game. I mentioned that Monty's first in the NFL in broken tackles. Jahmyr Gibbs is 11th with 6. So you've got Goff. He is elite at home, although it is kind of concerning. He's thrown a pick in 3 straight games. He had that long stretch last year, and we all knew there was going to be some regression back to the mean as far as his turnover rate. Hopefully that ends this week. A nice, clean, turnover-free game would be great, because this is a game they should win unless they piss it away.
Yeah. What I've been impressed about the Lions the most is the fact that Goff is throwing more interceptions this year, which you knew was going to happen. That streak wasn't going to last forever, but just how they've responded after not only the defense, but then the offense coming back out. Typically after throwing those interceptions, they really limited the damage as far as points scored by the offense. And then they've come out and they put points on the board as well. I wonder how much the Panthers are wishing they would have just kept Steve Wilks.
No kidding.
And maybe drafted
DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Or drafted CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. They're Rubers are shopping for a wide receiver 1, and I'm like, well, you had one. You traded it for Bryce Young. You traded him for the wrong quarterback, or the wrong pick for the wrong quarterback. I'm sure the pass rush is going to be very active. Hutchinson leads the league in pressures with 27, and Young is the 8th most sacked quarterback, 11 sacks against him, even with missing that one game. So he holds on to the ball too long. He's a rookie. He's getting it. I think at some time he might be a good average quarterback, but it's going to take a little time. Now, I just didn't really give him a lot of weapons, Yeah, you signed Miles Sanders, which was ill-advised. Adam Thielen, I mentioned, dead body. Just that I have a lot of weapons. It's hard for a young quarterback, especially a rookie. But Lions will steamroll. Monty game, like Matt said.
Yeah.
Laporta will have some action too.
I know you can't go back and change the past or how decisions made would impact what's happening today, but a Panthers team with CJ Stroud, DJ Moore, and Christian McCaffrey would be a really fun team to watch.
Wow. Yes, it
would. Yeah.
And a good defense. Kidding. They had a good defense last year. Wilks had them playing well. As you guys know, I mean, that game and late in the season, the Panthers weren't supposed to win that game. The Lions were playing well, and Panthers played hard for Wilks. So I know that the Panthers wanted to go offense, and I don't know if they made the right choice by hiring Frank Reich, but there's a lot of things that could have happened differently that might have ended up making the Panthers a really fun, exciting young team to watch.
Yeah,
well, hiring Frank Reich was all about the quarterback they were going to pick at number 1, because Steve Wilks did a good job last year, but is he the guy you want leading the development of your number 1 overall pick, the guy who's supposed to be the face of your franchise?
Well, I mean, they brought in Jim Caldwell, so why not do the same thing and have Steve Wilks be the defense? And I know you guys don't love Jim Caldwell.
No, I mean, Caldwell was an all right coach. It just seemed like every time I'd watch the game, it would pan to him, and he always just looked confused on the sideline. Like, I want my coach to look and act like he's the smartest guy in the room, even if he isn't. And Jim Caldwell is like, holy shit, like, I worked at a truck stop yesterday, and now I'm on an NFL sideline. What do I do?
I unfortunately remember that look. So,
we got another London game this week. Jaguars are hanging out over the pond a couple weeks in a row. They got the Bills. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm curious how the Jaguars now kind of being fully used to being over there as opposed to the Bills, who are coming in. They're coming in on a high. And the Jaguars, they won last week there too, but I'm looking for the Bills to win this game. As far as starts for fantasy, I'm not sitting anybody. The Bills have been pretty good in coverage, but they lost Tre'Davious White last week to a torn Achilles. So we'll see you next year. Wish you a speedy recovery. Neither team's run defense is all that great. So James Cook and Travis Etienne, start them with confidence. I imagine one of that pair will score a touchdown unless the Jags would get down close to the goal line, and then it's Tank Bigsby time. And it's interesting that for all the hype with Calvin Ridley coming into the year, Christian Kirk is the guy leading the team in receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ridley had that week 1 outburst, and everybody's like, "Oh shoot, maybe we project." What's that?
No, go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
Hello. Oh, okay. Didn't know if you could hear me. I thought something changed. That was very weird. I forgot what I was going to say. So no, Calvin Ridley went off in week 1, and now he hasn't done shit since. And yeah, you're right. Christian Kirk's running the deal there. That was weird.
Yeah, it was, because I could hear you.
Yeah, just fine.
Matt, yeah, it's like you couldn't.
No, it just something changed in my headphones. Like I can't hear myself talk now.
Oh,
that's just
very
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyway, back to the game. Yeah, Matt, you make a great point. The Jags have been over there for a week. The Bills are coming off a big win at home against Miami. I think the Bills win this game, but we'll get to this later in the locks, which I'm fantastic at. After that big win against Miami, coming over the pond to London, I think the Jaguars will cover, but I don't think they will win. But it should be a good game for really anybody you've got in fantasy. Kirk, you've got Stephon Diggs, obviously. I think even Gabe Davis might get some run. He's been better a little bit as of late. So they put up 48 points last week. So I think
he found the end zone.
Yeah. So yeah, should be a fun game to watch. And morning football makes me feel like I live on the West Coast. So
man, that must be nice every week. Get up in the morning, have you some breakfast, watch football, and by the time the games are over, it's still early evening, and you can go do something, or just have a few hours to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And either stew about your fantasy loss or celebrate your victory, or sweat it until Monday.
Yeah, or start your podcast research.
Yeah,
just pretty much doing that all day Sunday as games are being played anyway. So. Let's see I think the big matchup. There's not a lot of high quality matchups this week. I think the big one is Cowboys at 49ers. San Francisco's -4. I didn't record what the over under is.
It's 3.5 now on DraftKings. Over under's 45.
Okay, 3.5 now. Dang. Hate when that just changes in one day like that. Man, I really think each team has only had one giveaway. They're both plus turnover differential, but both teams have only given the ball away once. Who's going to turn the ball over? I think that might be big. These defenses are both very good. Obviously, we talk about the offenses. 49ers, they're just amazing. The Cowboys still are very up there in stats as well too. I think it's going to be all about the defense. Who's going to cause some turnovers and make some big plays?
I think so too, and I think it's going to be another big Christian McCaffrey game. I think they're going to lean on him to run the rock quite a bit. I think it will be a rather low-scoring game. I think 45 is probably about right. I could see it being a kind of a 24-20 kind of game. The way this season, I was thinking about this game earlier today, and just the way this season has gone, doesn't this feel like a game that the Cowboys are going to win?
I could see it happening. They're both really good teams, and when you're making a comparison like this, I'll look towards common opponent. San Francisco took care of business against the Cardinals, and we know what the Cowboys did. If somebody's going to end up turning the ball over, I think it's going to be Dak Prescott. I think history tells us that that's where they'll come from. We gotta.
Yeah, I'm just responding in the chat.
Well, if the Jags win, how much more seriously do you take them? I was taking them seriously coming into the season. I thought they were the no doubt favorite to win the AFC South. I think they still are the favorite, even though you've got a log jam at 2-2. We're just a quarter of the way through the season. In a situation like that, I think I'm going to lean towards where is the best quarterback at, and credit to Anthony Richardson for all he's done, and that dickhead Ohio State guy down in Houston. So far, Trevor Lawrence is the best QB in this division right now.
That's fair.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I think the Jags are the one surprising is the loss to the Texans at home. They lost to the Chiefs, which wasn't shocking. The Chiefs were coming off a loss in week 1.
To who?
To the Lions.
Yeah, damn right, brother.
Yeah. But that though, not only the loss, but the way they lost by 20 points, 37-17, that was pretty surprising. So I think that got a lot of people, me included, down on the Jaguars. If they were to, they had a nice game against Atlanta. If they were to come out and beat Buffalo, I think they're right back in the conversation as one of the upper echelon teams in the AFC. I don't think they're on the level of Kansas City, Buffalo, even Miami to an extent. They might be in right below that with Miami. I think it's Kansas City and Buffalo right now. Now, Buffalo may come out and lay an egg and look just terrible, and Jacksonville beats them by 3 touchdowns, and then the narrative will be a little bit different. But I think a win is a win, and it would be extremely helpful, and it would put a lot more eyes on Jacksonville as a serious contender in the AFC. But if they get boat raced, then it could go the other way where they kind of get forgotten about.
I agree. I think they're the fourth best team in the AFC. 4 weeks from now, if Cincinnati figures their shit out, maybe they're the 5th best team in the AFC.
What do you say? I can see the Jags beating the Bills in London with the Jags home field advantage and travel schedule, but I don't think they can beat them in the playoffs. No. Yeah, you're probably right. Especially because the playoff game will probably be in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about that comeback last year. Trevor Lawrence still threw 4 interceptions in that game. He completely shit the bed and just got bailed out by the universe.
Yeah. There was a reason they were down by that much. Good questions.
Yeah. Before Drew jumped in, we were talking about Cowboys 49ers. Did we have any more good stuff for that?
Debo's going to be playing hurt. So this could be a Brandon Ayuk or dare I say a George Kittle game. I know if you've got George Kittle, you're a little bit disappointed with the output that you're getting from him, but at the same time, you shouldn't be surprised. He's somebody whose contributions are very, very inconsistent. He'll go 3-4 games and get you 5 or 6 points, and then he'll blow up for 23 and then 16, and then it's back down to single digits. Those of you who are lucky enough to have him last year in the playoffs got to see that firsthand, where he just caught fire at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think this could be a game where somebody like Juwan Jennings or Ronnie Bell might have a couple of plays just because
Ronnie Bell's gonna get more snaps. His snap shares keeps going up.
With Diggs going down for Dallas, Ayuk will probably Gilmore will probably be on Ayuk, so I don't know if he'll have a big game or not. Debo's hurt because Debo had a good game 2 games ago, and every time Debo has a good game, he's hurt for the next 6 weeks. Look for Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield too, but with defensive player of the year, linebacker.
Pat Summitt.
Yes, Pat Summitt. Yes, absolutely. Linebacker for the Cowboys. Why am I drawing a blank?
Patrick Willis
went to Penn State.
Parsons.
Yeah, Parsons.
Oh, I was thinking of the 49ers.
Yeah, sorry. with Parsons there, that he's probably going to be spying McCaffrey out of the backfield. So, just a wordy way of saying I don't know what's going to happen in this game.
One thing that was kind of surprising by the Cowboys coming into the season, I think everybody just kind of assumed that Brandon Cooks was going to be that number 2 receiver, myself included, but it's been Michael Gallup.
Yep. Which it was always Michael Gallup the last couple of years. Disappointing. And I drafted Brandon Cooks with that expectation that he would be a great wide receiver too, to complement CD Lamb, and that just has not materialized yet. Moving along, where are we at here? 35. Shit. Chiefs Vikings. I think we got to talk about that. I think that's going to be the highest total on the slate. Is it?
Should be
52. Last time I looked, let me look real quick. It is 52.5 now.
Yeah. Both quarterbacks are. We got breaking news from Drew. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's
supper
typing it
was
out.
good.
Pasta was good. Both quarterbacks, Mahomes and Cousins, are both top 10 in passing yards, top 7 in passing attempts, and top 5 in passing touchdowns this season. So it's going to be one of those type of shootouts. These guys starred on the Netflix show that came out a few months ago, the quarterback show, which was not horrible, not too bad, a lot of good stuff. I like the football part of it and less about the off the field stuff, family stuff. I don't care about that as much. Dick Butkus, yes, 80 years old, passed away. Is he like the all-time leading tackler for Chicago, or?
No idea.
Not, he's up there. I know.
I'm gonna say he's got some awards or some records. Some records.
I've got some awards.
Another big thing is Mahomes has only been sacked once this season through 4 games. He's the least sacked quarterback in the NFL, and the Minnesota pass rush is not spectacular. So kudos to the Chiefs for protecting their franchise guy. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to have a pretty good game this week. He's been having a great year.
Yeah, he has. Catching a lot more passes than I expected to.
He is. His 270 rushing yards to complement the passes that Matt mentions ranks 10th in the season. And then in week 4, his 100 and let's see. Yeah, in week 4, he led all players with 107 yards after contact. He's doing well. Now, the receivers, you've heard about running back from committee. I feel like the Chiefs are doing wide receiver by committee. They haven't found that number 1 guy to step up, not named Travis Kelce.
I guess the real question is, will Taylor Swift be at this game?
Did you see that the NFL was asking the broadcast networks to mention her movie or something for free?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because it was a cultural moment or something to that effect. Pop cultural moment. Whatever. Yeah. It's just horrible. I saw an interesting stat I thought I'd share with you fellas. The Chiefs' 6 receivers with at least 1 catch this season have combined for just 39 more yards than Justin Jefferson, who has 543 yards leading the league.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Jefferson is a freak.
It'd be nice. He is. It'd be nice if somebody could step up there.
You know what's interesting is Jerry Rice has had Justin Jefferson's career after he turned 37.
Yeah. Jerry Rice had 2 careers, 2 Hall of Fame careers.
Same as Tom Brady.
And I think the difference in this game, though, is going to be the Chiefs' defense. They're keeping teams out of the end zone. They've held. Where the hell was that? Man, I hate that. Chiefs are the only team allowing 18 or fewer offensive points per game this season.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Unless
their defense is playing good.
Yeah, unless the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins for Zach Wilson tomorrow, I don't see there being a big problem with Cousins having a good year, though. I mean, to his credit, and I think it will be a high-scoring game. Jefferson's going to go off. I think Addison will have a bounce back game. He didn't really do anything last Sunday. I think it will be a high scoring game, but I think the Chiefs will pull this one out.
I agree with that. What's really been bailing out Mahomes this year is his mobility. It feels like he's been running a lot more this year than he has in years past, and probably due to necessity. You guys referenced earlier the wide receiver core is nothing to write home about, and is filled with a lot of young guys as well. Aside from MVS, who catches about as well as Eric Ebron did.
Shout out Eric Ebron.
Right.
Oh my God. Guy couldn't catch a fucking
cold.
Jesus. Picks time, aces and deuces and stuff.
Yeah.
40 minutes.
Let's fire it up.
I'll roll first. Why not? First ace of mine, a start that I like. Oh, thanks for putting that up there, Matt. Breece Hall, running back for the New York Jets. It was announced this week. Head coach Robert Saleh said they would not restrict Breece Hall's workload. Man, I'm having a stroke, I think, because I can't even fucking talk.
I'm having a street.
They said, yeah.
I think you just interrupted
Breece Hall
yourself.
is not on a pitch count, a snap count anymore. And the Broncos have allowed the most fantasy points to running backs at 149, and it's not even close. The next closest team is the Bears with 107 fantasy points allowed to running backs. And the Broncos have allowed the most rushing yards. It's not even close. They've allowed 613, and second to last is the Steelers at 505. So he's going to have a big game. Dalvin Cook he don't look like Dalvin Cook anymore at all.
No, he sure doesn't.
Nope. Second ace is Michael Pittman, playing well this year. He's playing close to the 100% of snaps. He's the clear wide receiver one there. And Tennessee is allowing the fifth most fantasy points to wide receivers. And a whopping 77% of their receiving yards have gone to wide receivers. So we know all about the Titans, and the pass funnel defense. I like Michael Pittman a lot. I think he's going to have a great game this week. 100 yards, and hopefully he falls into the end zone. Just stick with aces, I guess, and go around.
Go ahead, Ramey.
All right. My two aces, I'm going quarterbacks this week, and no surprise, I'm taking Texans quarterback CJ Stroud against the Falcons, and my guy Anthony Richardson against the Titans. CJ Stroud has just been having a fantastic rookie campaign. Much more surprising than I think any of us thought he would. Nico Collins has been a big target of his, but that Texans offense, which I thought would be the weakness of that team, is actually the strength. They can score points, and I think they'll continue to do that against a decent Falcons defense. But I had a good week last week, so I'm going to take a little bit of a chance here with CJ Stroud. I think he'll continue to produce and have a good game. And then Anthony Richardson, we already talked about the Colts game. And Kyle, your ace was Michael Pittman, and I think that's the same reason why I'm taking Richardson. I think this is the week he comes out and shows his passing ability because of that Titans defense. So I think he has scored a touchdown, if not more than he's scored at least one touchdown in every game that he's played in. I think that will continue because when they get down on the goal line, they get pretty creative, much like Steichen did with the Phillies, with the Eagles. Been watching too much baseball. So for that reason, I think Richardson will have another good game. Hasn't been setting any records through the air, but with his ability to run the ball and score, I think he's going to have a really nice fantasy game. Fantasy week.
Nice.
Bold taking two aces, not knowing if the roof will be open, says Drew.
I know that the roof will not be open, Drew. The roof will not be open.
And is it still passing ability if he does it against a weak pass defense?
Hey, results are results.
Okay.
A win is a win.
So I will say this is the third time out of 5 weeks now that you've chosen AR as one of your aces, and you've hit both times. So
yeah,
why not roll with it?
Why not? Why stop a good thing, right?
Yep.
That's it. I guess it's my turn now.
Yeah.
For my aces, I'm going to go with David Montgomery going up against a very, very weak run defense there with the Panthers. They're at home. Detroit should win this game easily, so he's got game script in his favor. He's been great since he's come back, which is a game, but still, it was a kick-ass game, and I look for that to continue. My second, Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson going up against the aforementioned Broncos defense who couldn't stop anyone. Zach Wilson showed some flashes last week. I think we got to see why the team thought so highly of him. Don't get me wrong, he's still got a ways to go. And this is more me believing in the talent of Garrett Wilson to get open against a pretty porous Broncos pass defense.
Nice.
Yeah. Second time that you've chosen Garrett Wilson. You chose him as a deuce in week 2, and he burned you for 19
He should have been.
points.
It was on 2 catches. A long time. That shit was a fluke.
I know.
That incorrect pick has an asterisk on it.
No asterisk allowed.
No.
So yeah.
Let's deuce it up.
Deuces are recommended sits or fades, however you want to say it. I'll start Miles Sanders, running back for the Panthers. Just not been very efficient. He got that lucrative contract, and he's already starting to lose playing time to Chuba Hubbard. He played a season low 43% of snaps last week, 13 carries for 19 yards. And the Lions defense, the rush defense, we've number 1 in the league. And they've allowed the 6th fewest fantasy points to running back so far. Detroit has. So Detroit's allowing 2.9 yards per carry, and he averages 2.9 yards per carry.
It's a perfect match.
He is battling. He is on the injury report. He's had 2 straight limited practices, though. Same thing as last week, and he suited up. So I think that he will. And my other deuce is Ramondre Stevenson. I was so high on this guy 5 weeks ago, and not so much now. He's just averaging 10.8 points per game. You can't really blame Zeke Elliott. Stevenson is still the clear lead back. But he's had 70% of the snaps, averaging 19 opportunities between carries and targets a game. Just not turning it into anything, and he's not catching as many passes as he did last year. He's only 2.7 yards per carry on the ground, and the Saints are a tough defense. They've allowed the 8th fewest points to running backs in fantasy this year, so I'm fading him. Ramey?
All right. My deuces are, I'm an equal opportunity. I'm not a total homer. I'm going to go with Colts running back Zach Moss as a deuce. I would sit him this week if you can. As we talked about earlier, if you can't, you got to play him, then do. But if you can avoid playing him at all, I would. With Jonathan Taylor coming back and stealing some of those carries away from Moss and that Titans run defense, I wouldn't start him this week. I just don't think it's going to be a very productive day for the Colts running game against the Titans, the strength of the Titans defense, their running game. And then I'm going to go with Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. Did we all say he would be MVP?
I think so.
Yeah. I think so.
We were very diverse.
Yeah. Guess who has more passing yards, Joe Burrow or Justin Fields?
Wow.
Fields. Joe Burrow.
No. Oh, Joe Burrow has 728 yards. Justin Fields has 800 and I have it up here. Hold on. 861. So it's the calf. It's just not been a good year offensively. And that, as we talked about on Tuesday, going to Arizona, that Cardinals team plays hard, especially that defense under Jonathan Gannon. They've played really well this year outside of some time against the Niners. And 2 of the last 4 weeks, the Bengals have only scored 3 points. So until you can show me that the Bengals have kind of figured it out, I'm not high on Joe Burrow. And I think I'd look for somebody off the waiver wire or on my bench to start this week instead of him. With T. Higgins having a rib injury, it's just not crazy about Joe Burrow. And So he's my other deuce this week.
Nice.
You've also chosen Zach Moss a couple weeks ago.
I chose him as my deuce.
You did in week 3 against the Ravens, and he
I was
burned
wrong.
you.
I was
He had a nice
incorrect.
game. 23.5. So let's see if it gets you some better luck this week on your stuff. So all good picks, though. I like all of them. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to drop a deuce now. I'm going to start with Daniel Jones. That offense is just in disarray completely. The line is awful. They can't block him. They're playing against Miami this week. They cannot score with Miami, and it would be a fool's errand to try. I think if they got Saquon Barkley back, they're going to take the air out of the ball, try and shorten the game, and that's really the only way they can stick with it. You might get lucky and Daniel Jones helps you out on the ground, but he has not looked great this year. You know, he had a decent half against Arizona, and that's about it. For my second deuce here on the rewipe, I'm going with tight end Mark Andrews. This is more tied to game script. I don't think the Steelers pose any kind of threat to the Ravens with the way both of those teams are playing right now. And it doesn't matter if the Steelers start Kenny Pickett or that other dipshit that failed in Chicago. They're not going to need to pass a ton. The Steelers also allow amongst the fewest points to tight end in the league. So I think this is going to be a game won on the ground by the Ravens, and Mark Andrews, unfortunately, doesn't carry the ball. Now, that doesn't mean he won't go out there and maybe get you, 4 for 50 or something like that. I just don't think they're going to need to target him as much as maybe they have in some other weeks this year.
Nice picks.
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel Jones. Whew. They can get out of that contract after next year, I think, but geez.
Still, thanks for the 40 mil.
Yeah, no joke. It'll be 80 mil next year.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
Oops. Betting locks of the week. I'm 4-0, guys. Where are you guys at? 4-0 in locks. So I'm going bold this week. I went bold in week 2. I think it was Tampa Bay -3 versus Chicago, and I got that. I'm going Lions -10 versus the Panthers at home. These guys have already given me shit about that's a ton of points to lay. They may be right, but I got to believe that this team can beat them. The Lions can beat the Panthers by 2 touchdowns or more, because if they can't, they're not the team that I think they are. It's a no-brainer. Lions are going to blow them out by 2 touchdowns.
So are you taking the -10 or
Brandon?
-9?
What's that?
Are you taking the -10 or -9?
Oh, I must have wrote it wrong. I got 10 in my notes, and I see it's 9 there. I don't know why I did that.
So regardless, you're laying the points with Detroit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Too potent of an offense for Carolina to deal with, and
Yeah.
I'll shut up about it.
You're fine. I alluded to my lock a little bit ago when we were talking about Jags Bills over in jolly old London. Jags being there for a week, Bills coming off a big win and having to travel over the pond. I think it's actually up to 5.5 now. I'll take those points all day long. I think the Bills will win, but I think it will be a close game. I think the Jags will cover. So for that reason, I'm going to take Jags +5.
Nice. Well, for me.
Oh, hold on. We got a comment. Hold on.
Stand by.
What is it? This is usually the part of the season where Reich channels his inner Pagano and starts talking about chopping wood. I like the Lions lock. Hey, thanks a lot, Drew. I appreciate that. I'm going to bet it. Why don't you too? We'll win some money.
Good luck, fellas.
For
me, I'm taking the Saints at the Patriots under 40 total points. Both offenses have kind of looked like crap the past few weeks. New England, especially, they just got their dicks knocked in the dirt against the Cowboys. Mac Jones got benched. They brought in Bailey Zappi, who, quite frankly, isn't a whole hell of a lot better. We'll see. And with Derek Carr there in New Orleans, he come out there playing hurt. He just looked like ass, and it's got to make you wonder, like, just how bad is Jameis Winston that they decided to go with Derek Carr, and that was the result you got. Alvin Kamara getting 83 targets, like that'll never happen again. How many running backs don't get targeted like that unless you can't throw the ball down the damn field?
Ball.
Chris Olave owners were not loving last week. I've got him in a league. I was disappointed with his performance in a league. I think I lost in that league. I'm going to blame it on him and Derek Carr, who I already didn't like coming into the year. And here he is, just completely validating my thoughts that he's a scrub. New Orleans were idiots for signing him. And here they
blame it on Dennis Allen. Really?
No, I'm going to blame it on Derek Carr because I don't like him. And I don't understand why they signed him.
Depending on how their season goes, they'll be a fun team to watch with all these quarterbacks in the first round next year.
Yeah, I mean they'll stay in games because of their defense.
Yeah,
and they do have some talent there. The Chris Olave, Michael Thomas has played pretty damn well this year. Rashid Shaheed, when he gets the opportunity, he's shown some flashes that he can do some things. You got Kamara there. You got Jamal Williams when he comes back. He's solid in short yardage, and he's pretty damn good in pass pro as well. That was his role when he was in Green Bay. He was the passing down back.
Yeah. Good pick.
Yep. Good pick, man. Good pick.
You're not worried you're not worried about the fact that Judon and the other guy for Gonzalez for
no, they got JC Jackson.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. They traded for JC Jackson again.
They're straight, brother.
Who's been horrible the last 2 years in Charger land. But,
that is such a Belichick move.
Yeah. Just to review our Aces and Locks picks from last week and season to date, we are all 3-2 last week. I'm leading the way, 14-6. I need you fellas to try and catch up there at 500-ish.
Hey, never forget.
Looking so good. Look at that sexy pick of Ramey. Your pick was hard because, I don't know, you poofed your hair or put some hairspray in it. It was real tall.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do. Well, get me a better picture, and
I think it's a fine picture.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You look very dapper.
Dapper.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
And
besides, the guy who wears a hat in every episode shouldn't be talking shit about anyone else's hair.
I'll wear a hat in every damn episode. I do not care. I'm losing my hair and, self-conscious about it. But find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Stoned On Sports Podcast, and Twitter X at Stoned On Sports 1. Hit us up on there anytime. Any questions, starts, sits, pickups, trades, anything fantasy. Anything sports related, we'll talk about. Ramey will talk about the Cubs' epic collapse at the end of the season to not make the playoffs, and he'll talk about that with anybody with a pulse.
It's okay because we're going to re-sign Bellinger and we're going to trade for Pete Alonso. So
that's what you've been talking about, Pete Alonso. You read that somewhere in your
we're signing Ohtani.
Cubs chat. Yeah. Sorry, that's even farther from Japan. Nope. So, not going to happen. But good show tonight, fellas. See how long I last watching this game before I turn it off because it's going to turn into a slog fest or be a slog fest. But
it's football.
Still watch it. We'll still watch it. And again, we'll have a couple 4 Pillars videos for you Sunday morning. Little foundation for your DFS lineup this Sunday main slate. Look for those around between 11:30 and noon on Sunday on the YouTube. 4 Pillars. I didn't do so well last week. I don't think Matt did either.
Yeah, we're not.
I think we were 2-2
last week.
I think we were both 2-2 on our picks.
Hi guys.
I'm goldfishing this one. Last week
I'm on a winning streak.
Nice. 3 in a row?
2 in a row.
Oh, no. 3 in a row.
Well,
is
your
a winning
definition
streak.
and my definition of a streak is different.
Yeah. Are we talking the fantasy league?
Yeah, the daily fantasy.
Oh, the daily
count-
fantasy. Yes. Okay.
I'm
yes.
I'm counting one in a row as the streak for fantasy for the listener
We
league.
need to make a graphic for that and share that information too. Kyle.
Yeah. Sure. I will work on that.
Awesome.
It is.
And that's all shit we can talk about off stream.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks to all our
Awesome.
listeners. Appreciate you. Appreciate Drew and a couple others that popped on during the pod. Really
Couple's
enjoyed
generous,
this.
but
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
2. I think I saw 3 at one point,
Oh.
maybe. Yeah,
I
but
never saw
anyway.
I never saw 3, but I don't pay
No.
attention.
Yeah, that is accurate. It might have been the most accurate thing you've said tonight.
Yeah. Jesus. None of the advice I gave, none of the
Yeah,
stats
no.
were. All the stats were
Yeah.
accurate, folks. I
Hey,
double checked.
you know what? They were great stats, and you did a really good job of delivering them. And I really enjoyed listening to you talk about them.
Now I know you're just.
And I think
No,
it
I
was
don't.
a really great point that you made. So, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks
All right.
to everybody listening. Please watch, listen, subscribe. Everybody have a nice evening. We'll talk to you again on Tuesday.